I'm spending much less time on the charts. I'm spending much more time in trades now, but I don't have to babysit them. So yeah, everything I did was basically to get back some free time.
What's up everyone, I'm sitting out today with Moritz Czubatinski in Hong Kong. We're at the peak. Some crickets we can hear in the background, so I'm not sure if you guys are going to hear them or not. But in any case, I want to talk about something very serious today, which is kind of how you've been able to grow and adapt. We've been talking, I think, a year ago, online, on lives. That was pretty awesome. But I want to talk today about kind of how you've been able to trade less now and make more money than before, which is pretty amazing, I think. So tell people first a bit of background about yourself if they don't know you at all, if they don't know who you are. Just so they can know.
Alright, so yeah, well, right now I'm still involved in two projects. One is Edgewonk, which is a professional trading journal, and the other one is Tradeciety, which is a trader community where we teach people how to trade. And I've been a professional trader for more than 7 years now, roughly. So I'm traveling the world, mostly in Asia though, and I recently settled down in Frankfurt, so I'm there like 6 months per year. And the other 6 months, yeah, Asia, mostly Hong Kong now. Yeah.
Awesome. It's a good place to be at, for sure.
It's the best. Absolutely.
So before you were doing, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of day trading, like actively. So last time I met you in Hong Kong, you were kind of trading all night pretty much, so going from like 4 or 5 p.m. to the night. So how did that evolve? Like what has changed since now, exactly?
Well, mostly I switched from day trading to swing trading. And
completely or just partly?
So yeah, my new strategy is kind of like that I still execute as a day trader, but I do my watch list as a swing trader. So I set up my alarms in the morning, and then that's it.
So that makes it kind of easier for you to manage your trades now, and you have to spend less time from the chart, basically.
Exactly, yes. And my average trade size has gone up considerably, obviously. So I'm paying less commissions in relation to my profits, which made a huge difference in my bottom line. I'm spending much less time on the charts. I'm spending much more time in trades now, but I don't have to babysit them. So yeah, everything I did was basically to get back some free time.
Yeah.
And I also went into developing algorithms. So part of my bankroll is now also invested in fully automated trading, where I don't have to do anything except for check the trades every day, 5 minutes. And when the algorithm opens a trade, I get an email with a screenshot. So that's pretty much all I do in that department, besides developing new strategies. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I got more time than before, and I'm making more money. I'm quite happy about that.
So how did that transition from day trading to swing trading happen? Because of course you cannot just say from like one day to the next, oh, I don't day trade anymore, I just swing trade. So how did you transition to it? You had to do some research first, or you knew it before?
Yeah, actually it all started when I read, so Rolf we both wrote a book together. Rolf did most of it, the strategy part, and so I was proofreading it. And I didn't know much about Rolf's strategy before that.
Okay.
And he's a swing trader, a swing reversal trader. And then I read that book and I was like, okay, I want to try that, it sounds interesting. And I put on some trades, and I quickly realized that this style works for me as well. So I took that style and adapted it to my own day trading. So basically what I did is that I looked for swing trading setups and with raw style, and then timed them with my day trading strategy. So suddenly I had a lot fewer trades, but I had much bigger targets because the trades I looked for were on the higher charts. And my risk-reward ratio was much better than before, suddenly. So yeah, that was pretty epic.
That's good. I'm just laughing because there's some people walking by and stuff, so we'll have to kind of stop and cut a few times. But that's all right.
Just standing there.
Yeah. So how did you kind of scale what you do now? Because of course you didn't start swing trading, I guess, from the same position size that you have now, right?
No, as a day trader, I was risking like 1/4%, 0.5%, and as a swing trader, I could risk 1% roughly. So I was trading higher position size as a swing trader than
Okay.
as a day trader
From day one, or you kind of want to be comfortable with what you did first?
from day one.
Okay.
It felt right, like because it was much fewer trades. So
And you knew kind of what to do first, so
yeah.
that's awesome. So you went with the full position size from day one, and then how did you know that you were able to do it and that you could kind of replace that and stop day trading?
After 2 months roughly. So yeah, I was just looking at the results after I had maybe 30 trades in. Yeah. So as a swing trader, I took maybe 10 to 15 trades per month or take, and then it just everything felt right, and I had the numbers and the statistics. I did some back tests, of course, as well. And then after that, I completely stopped day trading, and
Awesome.
I still time the trades on the 5-minute chart, so maybe people would still say it's day trading, but I let them run much longer
Yeah.
than just till the end of the day or the session.
Okay. And I think for a lot of people, the mistake is going to be to say, "Well, I stopped day trading and I just swing trade from now on." But like you got to take a step back and check the result if they make sense or not, I guess.
Sure. I mean, before you do any change to your strategy or start a new strategy, just see where the results take you. So what I usually do is 20 trades, and then reanalyze, reiterate, and take it from there.
Was there any challenges you faced when you went to swing trading instead of day trading? Did you feel like comfortable with it or not?
Suddenly, I had a lot of free time. So
Yeah, that's gonna be a weird problem to have. You wonder what to do with your time. Yeah.
yeah, that is one part, and the other part was that I wasn't used to being in trades for so long. So, I mean, I have a stock strategy which I trade on the weekly charts, but it feels more like investing. So I check the charts once per week. But for this strategy, it was like it still felt like a day trade. So I still had this urge to check every 15 minutes the charts, for example. But suddenly I was in the trades for 1 or 2 days. And then that would drive me crazy. So I had to stop doing that. I had to force myself to only look at the charts every 4 hours. And that also increased my bottom line with swing trading in the end, because I had to start thinking like a swing trader, not like a day trader that gets out at the smallest pullback.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think the biggest problem is like you don't know what to do with your time. So how did you find, like, what did you do with your time instead? Did you find something productive to do or no?
Productive.
I don't know. I'm wondering.
Yeah, like for one, I started developing algorithms, so that's something I always wanted to get into. And well, I do a lot more sports now, actually,
Nice.
simply because I'm getting bored. and we have a few new projects coming up as well. Like we just opened a company here in Hong Kong, and we are going to launch a fund in the next 1 or 2 years as well.
That's specific.
So yeah, taking care of the regulations and the fees, and as you know, opening bank accounts in Hong Kong is a lot of fun, and finding investors and so on. So there's always a lot of stuff going on, and I don't know where my time goes. It just disappears.
Yeah, and I've pretty much seen you do it the right way, which is like you want to start the fun, right? So that's your goal, and then you really surround yourself with the right people that either have a fun or they can kind of tell you how to do it and how they did it themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that's the right way to do it. People are very often kind of wanting to stay on their own and just doing everything themselves. That's gonna be a big mistake. So talk about that process. Like, what do you do if you want to start a fund? Exactly.
So the first thing that you need to think about is where to get your license.
Yeah.
Where do you want to license your fund? Then start the research. What kind of business model do you want to have for your fund?
So for you, you could start your fund in Germany, and I guess the basic thing is you're gonna have a lot of taxes, and maybe more rules with that hedge fund.
Exactly. I would never open a fund in Germany. Never, ever. I mean, the markets here in Hong Kong are also quite regulated, but if I want to do it in Europe, I go to the Netherlands, for example, where taxes are easier and there is a lot more infrastructure already. So Hong Kong, Singapore, they just have all the infrastructure you need as a fund. There are facilitator companies or accelerator programs where you pay them, of course you have to pay them quite a lot of money, but they do everything for you, from the licensing to the contracts for the investors, fee structures, just everything, right? And the only thing, they even take care of your visa and find an apartment for you. The only thing you have to do is to generate alpha and find investors, of course. That is the other crucial part. I mean, they can help you a little bit with finding investors, but in the end, that's your job.
But I think as long as you have the stats and take care of your business and trading, then there's no problem with like finding investors. You shouldn't have too much problem with it, I guess.
Depends on your performance, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. If you have, so what most investors want to see is low volatility, right? They want to have nice returns with low drawdowns and steady equity curve. If you have a very volatile equity curve, not a lot of people are gonna give you a lot of money. Maybe they give you some seed money, but not much. And like you can approach them with a year track record. Better would be 2 years of track record. That's kind of the minimum what people.
Yeah, for people to be really comfortable. Like, it doesn't mean you cannot trade for someone else with a lower track record, like 1 year or 6 months. But when you want to start a fund and actually like a real business, then you need more than just a year, I think.
Definitely, yes. And also, once you start the fund, people want to see that you have your own skin in the game, so you need to put your own money up. And also, it's going to be hard, even if you have a personal track record, you're still going to need to have a track record in the fund, right? So the first 1 to 2 years, you have to make sure that you can cover your overhead, because that's when most of the funds fail. Like 95% of funds fail just as the businesses, and most of them fail because they cannot deal with their overhead.
So for you, this is kind of the first time you start a fund, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there are some things that you don't necessarily expect that you're going to learn along the way. Like some people might learn. But that's when you understand yourself, what people are going to tell you, like, oh, this is how you do things, this is what happens and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess the first thing is you have to set it up. And there's a lot more tasks that are going to be involved in trading. Because like, you could trade all day, but then that doesn't mean you have a successful fund.
Yep.
So what are some of the things you have to think about? Like, what do you have to work on to make your fund successful?
Well, the thing that a lot of people do wrong is that they hire traders firstly. So okay, so you are a niche fund basically, and you start with maybe $5 to $10 million, like a boutique fund, and then you have a great return because you are trading a niche strategy, which is scalable up to a certain point, and then suddenly, because of your awesome performance, you get a lot of investment money. And then you cannot scale your strategy up. So you need to hire other traders. And then you have to diversify into niches which you don't really know. Your performance deteriorates. In the end, you convert to a family office. Something like that. That's how a lot of funds go. So that's the first thing. If you want to scale up, think about how scalable your strategy is and how exactly you want to go with that. Then secondly, if you hire other traders, the question is how much salary are you gonna pay them? Then about the fund structure, the fee structure, like 220 is the standard, has been the standard for many years.
So that's 2% commission over a year plus 20% of the performance.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of people are not willing to pay that anymore unless you have a very stellar performance.
Okay.
So you might have to switch to another structure, for example 0-30, where you don't take any management fee, but you take more performance fees, for example. And then it's all about networking, because a lot of traders, they are like introverts and they're just sitting at home in the office. But if you want to find investors for your fund, it's all about networking all the time. You have to know the right people, and you have to know this person, and he knows another person who is rich, and then so on. And you know, there's a lot of money in the world, and you only need a tiny fraction of it. To
When you think about this way, it's easier than just, oh, I need like that big amount of money like to be able to trade for or start a fund.
Yeah.
But when you see it as a small part in the universe or the world, it's easier to accept and
Exactly.
better. So I'm kind of wondering, how did you first start to connect with people that run funds? Because obviously, like, you didn't have a fund. So how can you connect with those people?
There are quite a lot here in Hong Kong. So just find out which ones are performing well and write them an email. It always.
It's pretty much what I've seen, but I'm just wondering because people are having a hard time sometimes to reach out to reach out to bigger people or people like that achieve a lot. So, but I'm pretty sure the answer is only email. Just for them email. Yeah. Some will answer, some won't, but it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. And I also got to know some other people through my other projects, Edgewonk, for example, and networking. I also got to know a wealthy investor from mainland China through a connection which I made 6 years back, and I didn't even think about it. And it just popped up again, like totally randomly, because back then I was already networking efficiently. And it's just, as always, just go to the internet, see who is at the top of their game, and try to get them for lunch or ask them whether you could take a look at their infrastructure. Can I come to your office for an hour and take a look? I'm interested. And a lot of people will say, sure.
Yeah.
More than you think.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to like if you try to take from them all the time, then it won't work. But if you try to add value and just like be curious and be interested, then it's easier to accept.
Exactly.
Awesome. So then you start the fund. You have a couple of things running out. How do you manage everything? How do you make sure that like everything's going to be taken care of? Because like you're going to have soon a bunch of businesses, bunch of streams of income, which is really good to have, bunch of ways to make money. But how do you make sure that everything has its place and that you take care of everything?
Not easy. Automation, of course. And you have to learn to delegate. You have to hire a few people that can help you out and which know your business very well after maybe half a year or a year. And then once they know your business very well and they provide value to you, make sure you pay them accordingly so they don't leave. Because good employees are really hard to find. Like, seriously, it's a nightmare. 90% of the workforce is useless. That's just, it's a sad truth. Especially if you want someone who thinks by themselves and has initiative, it's so hard.
And this is a rule I have for myself, and I read this or heard this somewhere, with the fact that you are better taking a year with a lower paycheck for yourself, lower salary for yourself, but have the right team around you that are going to push your business forward, than trying to kind of make the most money for yourself right now, today.
Yeah, definitely. So you can scale up much faster. And not only that, you're going to stay sane in the long, run.
Yeah. I like to think about the concept of, as a trader, having a team around you. And that could be a bunch of things, like could be a coach, could be some people that work for you, could be some coders, whatever you think about accountants. Who are kind of part of your team? Are there kind of some roles that you want to fill absolutely as a trader?
Like my dream, like my long-term dream would be to have a house here in Hong Kong to where maybe like 10 bedrooms and part of it is like a trader villa. So you have maybe 5-6 awesome traders and they all live under the same roof and basically don't even have to trade the same strategy. But you learn so much from talking to other good traders, and it could be like a trader, I don't know, vacation house, so people just come for a month or so, something like that. It would be super epic, like have barbecue together in the evening and stuff like that. And the other half could be for running the business, just secretaries, accountants, and so on. So, but the most important person in my trading business right now is definitely Rolf, because I exchange a lot with him, ideas and feedback, psychological feedback and so on. And we have an amazing accountant, which is like, he is basically keeping our bags free, like he's giving us a lot of support. That's great to have. And besides that, like one personal assistant would be awesome.
Yeah.
Which can do all the administration stuff for you, because it takes a lot of time away from your day and doesn't add any value. So if you can afford a personal assistant that does basically everything for you except for wiping your ass, that's it would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. I think people are often having question about like how you do your taxes, how you do this and that, how you count this and count that. But I think you can either like worry yourself or hire a good accountant who's gonna kind of know the law and take care of everything.
It's absolutely worth it to have a good accountant. Absolutely. Like, even if you don't have a lot of invoices, say a good accountant should do it for 50 to 100 euros per month. But then you have top-notch service, right? At least in Germany. And then you don't have to worry about that, because all that worry adds to your, or takes away from your edge.
Yeah.
Everything that flies around in the back of your head takes away from your edge. So try to keep your schedule as free as possible, so you can only focus on creating alpha.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how long it would take for you to do your taxes yourself, but if you look at that like cost per hour, it's probably really worth it to hire someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you can take that time and like build a system in a year, it's gonna pay for itself in no time.
Exactly. And if you, for example, if you spend 3 hours trading a day, and then you make maybe 5K per month, so your hourly would be something like how much is that? I need my calculator. Anyway, it would
It's like 60. It's like $30 per hour.
Yeah, something like that. So an accountant, he takes, basically you pay him with 2 hours of your time, but he takes away so much stress, and you can focus on other projects to increase your hourly rate.
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes down to, hourly rate. How much money can you make per hour of work that you put in?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you found yourself kind of having a optimal number of hours you work in a day, or is that vary, or is that like putting all the work you can, all the hours, maximizing every minute, or not?
5.
5. It's nice.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like,
around 4, so 5 is not bad.
like 5 hours of focused work. That's really the maximum for me. Everything else feels like I'm not making as much progress as before. So usually I get up in the morning without an alarm. And then I start working, and usually I don't need anything. I just go straight to my laptop. I start working for 5 hours. Screw morning routines and all that stuff. I tried it for many years. It drives me crazy. So I just get up, I go to my laptop, I start working. After 5 hours I'm done, then it's 1 p.m., 2 p.m. I have the rest of the day.
Awesome. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So I know you have a bunch of stuff going on. You have an academy where people can learn to trade like you do and like Rolf do, swing trading and day trading. You have Edgewonk, a journaling software people can use and should use, in my opinion, if they want to kind of take this to the next level and really become better. You have a hedge fund coming up, which is awesome. So where can people find you? They'll connect with you or reach out after this video is done.
Sorry, what am I going to do
Where
after?
can people find you if they want to connect with you after this is done?
Well, people can find me on social media, but I usually don't post about trading. Also, it's like I spend my whole day trading, or my whole life revolves around trading. So whenever I have a thought which does not revolve around trading, I will put it on social media. So you just go to Instagram. My username is stocktcm, so STOCKTCM. I post mostly food and travel pictures there. And on Twitter I have mostly philosophical and political rants, same username. And then edgewonk.com, EDGEWONK, and tradeciety.com.
We'll put a link below for that in the description. You guys can check it out. You should connect with Moritz. Maybe send him a tweet or message him on Instagram, so he gets a lot of messages like that. And he's going to be annoyed a little bit. But that's fine. So comment below with your thoughts as always, guys. I want to hear your thoughts on this interview below in the comment. Check out his links and everything. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and we'll catch you guys here pretty soon. Ciao.
See ya.